Um, so I am like streaming today in portrait because it's just easier. Um, and I guess the reason I haven't been on as much as I would like or as much as I should be or whatever that is because I have been going through kind of I would say mild depression. And it started out by getting some sleep disruptions and then getting to, after that, having to sleep too much and I'm just exhausted so much. And then I have a friend staying right now who is moving up and needed a place to crash until they got their checks and could get a place. One of my kids that I knew while I was homeless. And I said, okay, but in all honesty, between three toddlers and somebody else having their stuff in my house, and oh, hi, Matayek. Hi, Cody. Thank you. It's Lady Lilac. Okay, hello. Um, and hi, Web Surfer Guy. That reminds me, too. I need to do thank yous. So, let's see. Let me do some. No, thank you, Matayek. Michael, it's 3:47 a.m. where I live, and I just want to say good morning. Good morning. It is like 1:47 where I am. Hi, Zachary, and I'm just having kind of a quiet night. My house is a mess. I know I should be cleaning it, and I wanted to just come and say hello. And I was thinking, all the positivity and things, but in all honesty, I just want to talk about what's going on. And so I was really excited because I had two public speaking events. And backtracking a little bit, I don't know how many of you know about bipolar, but most of the time, my medication keeps that in check. But for the past couple months, I've been struggling a little bit. Like I've, been a little more unstable than usual. So the first one went splendidly. The slides got a little screwed up or whatever, but I was really happy with my presentation. I said the things that I needed to say. It was super wonderful. Then 2 days later, I'm about to give my other one. I turn on, and I was feeling great and just like really, I turn on my camera and immediately notice I'm manic. And like I said, if anybody is versed on bipolar, the first thing you can tell, and I can tell by looking at myself, my eyes look different, my complexion almost looks a little different. Like it almost feels like I'm glowing, right? And so I knew that we were going to have some issues because when I am like that, because of my brain injuries, I have like zero filter. And they asked me um, the question at the end. They asked me, what would I recommend to other homeless individuals that would like to start their own business? And I swear to God, my first answer was therapy. And I dug in. They said what? And I said therapy. I said you have to look what you went through if you were homeless was a trauma. You are traumatized. You have just come through a life and death situation. It is super important to be able to dissect that and be able to move forward in a healthy way while grieving the person that you were before the trauma. Believe me, I have had so many traumas. So many. And so, yeah, and I don't know, like, I don't know what it is about mania, but I had like this great answer prepared about the Small Business Administration, about making contacts, about, reaching into different disability resources, or, if you're a marginalized group, I had this lovely, lovely answer. And because I have no filter, and apparently I was thinking that, I was like, oh, yeah, I have a great answer, therapy. Which, if I was to truly admit it, I stand by. So, yeah, that's how that speaking engagement went. I think I was a little out of my league because I am a sole proprietorship. I am a non-employer entity. And so we were talking about the Great Resignation. And I said, because I speak to a lot of people, and I said, the thing about this Great Resignation is it's a shift. It's a shift in the way we think. It's a shift in the way that we're valuing ourselves as human beings, and not just by our production for somebody else. And I said, and part of, like the Great Resignation, and, some of that is we really undervalue a lot of work. Artists is a great example. Art is undervalued significantly. It is a common joke to talk about an artist being on the streets, and so I was trying so hard, and it was a little muddled, and I did my best. Um, let's see, I'm gonna address some comments. Sometimes, Amanda, your meds need adjusting. That's what happened to me a while back. Yeah, I talked to my psychiatrist, and we talked about adjusting my meds. The issue is the antidepressant that I'm on, I cannot go any higher because of my brain injury. I feel like the antipsychotic works well. The problem is many times, like tonight, I've taken every med except my Seroquel, but I fight it sometimes because the only time I have is night. Like, it just feels so sad to me to go to bed before I have like these moments of clarity and time to think and time to process. I work with some really deep issues. And so it's very important to me to be able to maintain balance, to be able to, sort the things out in my head, have enough quiet time, be able to be present with the grandkids, because I have them 4 nights, and most days a week. So that's really difficult. And when people, I just want everybody to understand, when people say things are difficult, like I've noticed this in people when I say having the grandchildren all the time, and because I'm the secondary parent, right? So having is very difficult, and it's very hard, and people will immediately jump in with, but it's such a blessing. I know it's a blessing. I'm not saying it's not, but I think we need to be realistic sometimes about our struggles. And I don't care who you are. 3 toddlers, 4, 3, and 2 is a lot. And then add in that one of them is special needs and a little high strung. It's a lot. And I'm trying to juggle this between meetings and everything else. And then not that my friend has and you may remember from a long time ago, Pierce, his fiance and new baby had died in an accident a couple years ago. And that was a really difficult time. So I have no issue with Pierce. He is a wonderful human being. Oh, but having somebody else in my space is a little nerve-wracking for me. Let's see. Look wonderful. Oh, thank you. Hi, a sleepster. They should hear the truth. I agree with you, Matek. They should hear the truth. And I think that's super important. And so I try to be as honest and vulnerable as I can. And that's, when I do the best. The problem with sometimes coming out being manic is that not all my thoughts are cohesive. So I may be trying to say something, but the way I'm going to communicate it is muddled. And so while I may be speaking the truth, I may not be speaking it in a way that people can absorb and comprehend. And so that's a real struggle. And I knew as soon as I turned on my camera, I was like, this is not going to go well. And true to form, I came out the gates like a Tasmanian devil. But I really do know what I'm talking about, and it was really difficult, but I made it through. And so I think I took some time to kind of lick my wounds and catch up on other work. And I didn't know what to say when I came on, you know. Throughout all this, our world has erupted. I don't know, like me and Shelly have just sat here and cried for the Ukrainian people. And it just breaks my heart. Like, peace could be attained in our world if there was an actual commitment to it. And that's very frustrating because there needs to be that commitment. There needs to be a responsibility towards peace, not just words. And what is happening right now is a whole ball of human rights violations, and it's literally just heartbreaking. So add that in to being super emotional and a little unstable, and yeah, depression. Not super fun, but I have been showering about every 2 days, 3 days. Let's see. Eugene, I saw where Mark Horvath is coming up to Seattle. I don't know if he is or not. I really like, he does a good job at telling stories and stuff. I'm really on another sphere of that. And so what I do, rather than like storytelling, which I thought about getting into for a hot minute, but my place and what I am good at is connecting organizations. I am good at connecting people. I am really good at understanding the material that is there and implementing it in innovative ways. I am able to, you know, because I'm a member of national organizations that work on policy and legislation. I work in regional efforts and local efforts, and so it's just a different sphere. So we're all working towards the common good, right? But we all kind of work in these spheres over here. So I really don't know, and it's just separate work. Let's see. Hi, how are you? I am good. Voice actors as well. Yeah, absolutely, Matai. Yeah, actors as well. How is everybody in my family doing? Okay. So my son he had a 2-week stay at a mental hospital, and he claims to be feeling much better. He has stopped by a couple times for coffee, and it doesn't seem like he is actively using. I am not always the best judge of that, but it does seem like that. But it's very nice for him to come and have coffee with his mom, and just, you know, that reassurance that he's alive and okay. So that's a big deal. The grandbabies are rascally as ever. They are so adorable, though. Um, yeah, just they're great. Shelly is taking names and kicking butt at her position, and she's really making a difference in, you know, the sphere of caring for people experiencing homelessness. And I'm super, super proud of her. Like, super proud of her. She is so rocking it. And then my daughter, my oldest daughter, is doing great. She went on an interview that I think she's, you know, did wonderful at, and is looking at a move. But Also, a step up in her career. My youngest seems to be doing good. We're still really working out issues because we were separated for so long. Um, but I hope that with enough patience and acceptance that, our relationship will repair. But that's all we can do is just continually work on being better. Um, well, sure. Hi. Oh, thank you. I'm on meds too. Totally know how it feels. Luckily, I'm fighting my way out. Same. And that's the best that we can do. Delia, hi. Watching here now. Oh, hello from Seattle. Sweden is close to Ukraine geographically. We will send ammunition to them. Good. Granny Linda, it's 4:57 and I can't sleep. Hope you're doing okay. Hi, Granny Linda, Canada. Hi from Seattle. I probably could have slept if I would have taken my appropriate meds on time, but I just wanted to have a quiet evening. Raja, seriously? I just wanted to have kind of a quiet evening. Just processing the things that are happening in my life, the things that are happening in our world, and just putting those things into context and just sitting with it, sitting with the grief, sitting with the guilt, sitting with the responsibility towards my fellow humans and not knowing where to go with that. Just so everybody knows as well, in the description, usually, I'll put like a little blurb about what it's about, and then I'll put like ways to support me or this channel. But right below that, I put ways as well in the first thing that you can support Ukraine. I found a couple ways to support that were, um, I Red Cross I think is a given. Um, Doctors Without Borders is a given, but I added a couple more that I didn't know about. Trapped for Life, I'm good. Web Surfer Guy, the Russia situation is very worrisome and it could spill out to involve the rest of the world. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And Russia could also unleash its hackers and bring our financial system scary times. It really is, though. And I think that it's healthy to process it. I think that we need to sit with it. I think that we need to contemplate and really understand what our responsibility is in this world and to each other. Not just acknowledge our responsibility to one another, right? But actively act in responsible ways towards one another. I think that is super important. Jessica, good morning and evening. Good morning and evening to you. Mataik, how was my Valentine's? Um, it actually was pretty good. Um, I had a, I had meetings, and then Shelly and the kids brought me cake and flowers, and so that was really lovely. Nothing like out of the ordinary though. And Shelly gets me flowers a lot. She knows that I like flowers a whole lot, and so like if I'm having a hard day or I'm just really at the end of my rope, I she'll usually like bring me some chocolate and flowers. um, I'm going to move to the US for my master's in engineering. Pretty nervous about it. Which are the top 5 cities to live in? Oh my gosh, that is such a hard question. Think of it like this, okay? The United States, each state is like its own country. Each one, even though we're all under this umbrella of the United States, each state is its own country with its own cultures, with its own way of being. Are you, are you serious right now? She's literally having a bath on my lap during this. She's so ridiculous. So it really depends. It depends on what you're looking for. I think that each person has a place that they're drawn to and that speaks to their soul. And so, what would be my favorite is not going to be somebody else's favorite. I love Seattle, but I have only experienced a tiny fraction of what the world has to offer. And so, for me, I guess I am waiting to pick favorites until I've experienced the world because my view would be so short sighted, right? Yes, I recommend Florida and Naples. I'm so sorry. Okay, and if you're not from here, you don't know this, but there are certain states that are just known for different things. And Florida, I love you people in Florida, but Florida is across the board known for just being ridiculous. The stories that come out of that state are just off that. So I guess again, it's all your experience in a different way. So yeah, I myself, okay, if I was going to give advice on what I like in the United States, I would say that if I am looking for land beauty, there's so much to choose from. Like you can choose from any kind of scenery that you want, from desert to mountain to ocean to farmland to rolling hills to just any amazing place, right? So you've got like all these options land wise. I like mountains. I've always loved the mountains. As a little girl, I was raised in the mountains. And so for me, that has always just been what been drawn to. The Pacific Northwest offers mountains plus. So for me, having the mountains plus and a rainy climate, which also makes us very temperate, which means that like the flora is just amazing. Um, oh, wonderful, Sydney. Florida does have alligators, and so does Louisiana. And I lived in Louisiana for a while. Again, another state I would not live in, like ever again. um, I wouldn't live in Texas. Mississippi is really beautiful, but has significant problems with other issues. I wouldn't live in any state that doesn't believe in human rights. Whether they're really enacting on it, I think commitment is first. And so if they haven't committed to human rights, I would never live there. I think it's super important for not only us to acknowledge our responsibility to one another, but our government to acknowledge its responsibility to its citizens. And I think that that is lacking in many, many states. So that's what I guess, yeah, there's so many factors, right? I'm just lucky that I found a place that I feel like I can thrive in, and I am thriving. I have hard times. Like, don't get me wrong. This last week of depression has been about enough. I'm over it. I hate being depressed. Like, and I always know it too because like sleep will pull me down. Like I won't want to do anything but sleep. And I'll actually get mad about not getting sleep. And so I know when there's issues of depression. So I'm like so over that. I am ready to feel like I am thriving again and to quit questioning myself because I think there was a period there during the depression where, and through all this stuff that I've really been questioning, if what I'm doing is even productive, if it even matters, if there's just a lot. And the thing is even if in the larger scope of things, it doesn't matter. I know it matters on a smaller scale, so I'm just going to continue, being myself and doing the best that I can. And I don't think that, whether I question or not, sometimes, I think we all do. But in the end, I truly believe that as hard as it is worthwhile work. Let's see. I'm from Cali, but would love to try out Colorado. Colorado's beautiful. Yeah, all the Rocky Mountain states are pretty beautiful. Skip Wyoming, really like Montana. Utah's gorgeous. I mean, so many states. It depends on what you like. Like I can find beauty in each state. Like each state has its just amazing parts to it. Um, but for me, I found it's really the attitude of the community, and so community the community is very important to me. I want to live in a community that has hope and has, positive thoughts towards, correcting wrongs that are, being perpetrated in society. Um, oh, thank you, web surfer guy. I have to wake up early, but it's good seeing you too. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Um, Florida is like Bavaria, if it is ridiculous. I've never been to Bavaria, but I've been through Florida. I just know that they're really infamous for just some of the news coming out of there is just like, wow. Florida man is infamous. I'm glad I can make you laugh and see your wonderful smile. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. I aspire to be Florida man. But I think that no matter what country or what state or wherever you are, I am sure you can find one place that has an amazing community in an amazing place that speaks to your soul. Our world is so vast. Have I found a new apartment? No, I have not. Apartment prices are skyrocketing. Yay. So it's been just about, it's really just been kind of a struggle, and Shelly's having the same problem. The the need for housing is so great, and the housing is so crunched. Like there's not enough affordable housing, so you have to be very, very quick. I'm not real quick at anything. I'm very change can really upset my balance. And so when it comes to things like moving or anything like that, I get very anxious and I have a hard time with the paperwork. I shut down in situations that have to deal with that. I hate it. It seems so counterintuitive to even the work that I do, that I can do that and I can't do something as simple as move. But I do know that there are several factors. Right now it's just finding a place that I don't want to move anywhere that has the same issues. I don't want to move somewhere just to have to move again. I want to stay somewhere. I want to build, I want to build up my community. I want to take part in making a place better. And I think to do that, as much as it gags me to say, I think that a person needs to be able to nest in or have a little bit of roots. And that's something that's a very new experience for me, as I never really did grow roots anywhere. And so I am getting my feet wet and kind of trying that out. Um, but I feel I feel hopeful. I'll find the right place at the right time and it will be perfect. And I know it will. And if I'm not finding anything right now, it's just because that place isn't open yet and I'm supposed to wait. I really look at things as things take place when they're supposed to, in the time that they're supposed to, and how they're supposed to when it comes to my life for some reason. Even though I don't know if that's true, though. My son said, I was like talking to my son, I was like, I am so blessed I've gotten through. And he's like, either that or you're a curse. You've been thrown a lot. Like, are you sure the universe isn't trying to kill you? And I was like, no. I said, the thing is tragedy strikes everyone. It's when you get through it and you learn from that and you're able to move on and grow and become a better human being, then I think that, that's the best that we could hope for. Let's see. Jessica, my husband loves the mountains too. I prefer the sea. I am so lucky because I've got the mountains like right over there and I've got the ocean right or the sound right there. And so it's both. It is literally the best of both worlds. The Pacific Northwest is amazing. You get it all. We even have a certain type of rainforest here. Like it's crazy. Um how could I let my son be homeless? Well, number 1 is we've all been homeless in my family except for, like, my girls, and, there are issues that my son has that he's not going to bring around to me, and the fact that I can be very, enabling sometimes can be an issue, and so we have worked out, and he's also not allowed here when he's in active addiction. That is a boundary that I have to keep myself safe and but he also understands that. We all go through things, okay? And my son is service resistant. We talk about it all the time. I actually have a list of all, as soon as he wants to accept services, like I got him. But until he wants to do that, then he has to make his way. And that choice, how to live his life, is truly up to him. I am his mom. That means that the best I can, I will try to guide or I will try to be there, but I'm there to love him. I'm there to not agree with all his choices, but I'm there to love him. Now, loving him doesn't mean breaking down my boundaries and making my sphere or my space unhealthy to live in. That's not what love is. But love is saying, I'm here. He also knows that if there is ever an emergency, he has people to call. And one thing I did tell him, though, is because he was staying with me for a while when he wasn't in active addiction. And he was talking about couches. And he says, Mom, I am so tired of sleeping on people's couches. I just want to have my own place. And I said, we need to get housing and we're going to, do the best we can to get you services and get you help. And I said, but listen here. I was like, think back to a month ago when you were in active addiction. You didn't even have a couch then. This is a step up. People stop offering their couches the harder you fall. So I said, look at these as step ups. There's a lot of trust by having somebody in your environment that's off that. Let's see. Why do you have to move? Because my building's just gotten dangerous. Like it's gotten bad, and they refuse to fix anything, and it's gotten to the point where, like, my daughters won't come here to visit me at this building because there is a significant, there is safety issues. The police are here all the time. There has been a chop shop in the lower base or the lower parking garage for a hot minute, like months. it's just gotten past the point where I feel I love my apartment and I love the view. And in the spring, I love the cherry blossom trees. But it's not worth risking my sanity every time I leave the apartment to see people just trash things. It is destructive emotionally, mentally. It's frustrating, super frustrating. What's up with Sun Statement? That was answering a question from before. People don't care about their kids anymore. That is not true. MA TV Productions. Hello, sweetie Staples. Oh, thank you. I stay away from my mom. That is your decision. Mataic, those boundaries are necessary. My dad is an alcohol drug therapist, by the way, right? It took some learning. And that is one thing that, when I am so thrilled that I, instilled that in my kids too. No matter what problem you have, you can at least learn about it, right? You can learn how to cope with it. You can learn how to get through it. And so we do a lot of really open and honest discourse and really look up different options as far as, therapies and talk about, how to heal from some of these things. Meg, my daughter is homeless with her husband. I can't have her in my home either. It hurts, but we have to not enable. Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's not like he can't come visit me. He absolutely can come visit. He can have a cup of coffee. We can talk about the day and his week and all of that, but he doesn't have to live here. And we each deserve our own space. My son is an adult. My son is in his mid-20s. Now, my son is very clearly disabled mentally and more than likely because of the Lyme disease physically. I mean, he's still doing physical work, so I'm like super happy, like when he can, when he's not having an all-out breakdown. But he deserves his own space, right? He deserves good health care. He deserves a program that is appropriate for his need. And so we haven't found that yet, but we know that these are needs. Let's see. Well, if you wouldn't have flipped your car, that wouldn't have happened. Should have stayed down south. I am not sure what you mean, but I think you probably need to get off my channel. Meg Smith. I did everything for my daughter I can't do anymore. And that's absolutely fine. And you know what? That's the thing, is knowing what you can give before you break and reserving that, because there may, especially with addiction, there may be a much more severe situation down the road. You don't know. Like I told my son, I said, it's nice to see you get help and not be in active addiction, because it gets really heartbreaking waiting for that knock on the door, waiting for that call that this person you adore is just not here anymore. You do not solve your problem as if you do not have to, because other people help you. My father was an alcoholic. He tried to change only when my mother kicked him. That's the thing. And that's the thing with addiction too. There's so much into it, from, biology to genetics. And that was something, I don't remember what conversation I was having, but we were talking about it. It's like, there are so many recreational drug users. And for us, it's not for us, for the recreational drug, which I use marijuana. So I don't drink, but I do use marijuana. For recreational drug users, it's not, you can use a drug without getting addicted, but for people who have addiction issues, they can't touch it. Like, that becomes toxic to them. Let's see. Fake suicidal video and fake. I have no idea. This person, I am actually, hold on. Um, I was gonna block them, but I want to say something really quick. Sydney, I'm not sure what's going on with you. I don't even know if that's your real name. I know nothing about you. All I know is that for you to do this, you must be in a really tough spot mentally because people don't attack others when they're finding happiness. So I am, because I'm it is annoying, going to block you. I just want you to know that just sit with your actions. Happy people don't attack people. So just sit with that, okay? And I hope you get better. Let's see. There we go. Much better. Okay. I've watched her die 5 times. I sat in ICU for 3 months only to have her go right back. Right? Exactly. Those are the kind of things that are yeah, it's heartbreaking. It is so heartbreaking. And Meg, my heart is with you. This is, you know, I know that he's struggling, and I can't even imagine how torturous that is. Um, my brief stint with alcohol was nothing, nothing compared to what he's going through. So I don't understand that. But I do understand what it's like to be on the sidelines, just trying to think of anything that can save this person. And knowing that, in all honesty, that's one of those situations that now there's a caveat here because help has to be available, right? So the appropriate help for the illness has to be available when the person chooses help. But that's the kicker, is they have to choose that. Um, so Big G, hi, good morning. Daniel Grossbeck, what car wreck? Um, there was a couple of them, and I talk about them in previous videos. Hadu guy, sad to see you fail your son. The funny thing is you say that, but me and my son have very open discussions about what is needed, and he agrees with me wholeheartedly. So so people can have their opinion on mine and my son's relationship. But I know that this is the best thing for both of us to thrive or try to thrive. And I'm really thankful, no matter what happens, that we've been able to be very open and honest. Otherwise, I never would have known the extent of his problem either. Rylan Sheets. He won't be alive forever being homeless. Well, that can be true. Homeless age, when you are experiencing homelessness, you can age very quickly. And you also age very quickly using meth and heroin, right? So I think that there are a lot of contributing factors. But the reason he is homeless is because he's service resistant. He's waiting for a housing program that fits his needs. And that's healthcare is a right that everybody should have. And for him, appropriate healthcare is housing. So if you know of a place that's offering that right now, let us know. We are open to suggestions. And if it's somebody in this area I have not connected with yet, please let me know. Let's see. I think think you do it the right way. Thank you, Jess. I do too. And, and I'm not saying that I don't get frustrated, and I'm not saying that I don't get angry and just furious at this disorder that's, taking my child. Um, but one thing I know is that I'm not alone. I am not alone. And so many parents and siblings and so many people going through this. And so I think it's important to talk about. I think it's important to have this discourse, um, because this is very draining. Like, addiction is very, very draining on both sides. um, Disorder, disease, whatever you want to call it. So, addiction. Let's see. Ryla, my daughter's been doing this 8 years almost. She stole everything from me, beat me up. So stop. Yeah. And no, I'm very lucky. My son has not stolen from me. And that was something that I was, a little concerned about. But, well, not outright theft. I did let him use my Nikon, and he did, I believe, pawn that on his little trip around the US. But whatevs. Anyway, but, just about 1 year ago, he was so high that him and a friend tried kicking down my door while I had my grandchildren. I wish people could understand that the effects of some of these drugs on the brain make it so these are like, it shifts personality, it shifts behavior, it shifts their vibe. Like, that is not the expression of the person that you love. It is very scary. Let's see. For you and your son, thank you. Thank you, Matayek. Help does not mean you have to deal with everything. That is true. Carol, it's just sad you would accept him being homeless. Carol, try to behave. It's funny too, because yeah, that's hilarious. Me and my son were homeless together. And so if there's one thing that I know, is that my son has every single resource out there at his fingertips. All he has to do is call me, and I will connect him with a resource. He is never going to freeze out there. He knows darn well that he can call me and get whatever supplies he needs. And if it's too cold, we will either get him an Airbnb hotel room, or he will be shacking up with one of us. So he is homeless, but he is not alone. And there is a huge difference in that. A huge difference. Okay, ban alcohol. That was during Prohibition, and it didn't work out great. We're trying not to go backwards. Carol tripping, right? Meg, don't even explain that. We know we've done everything, and each situation is super unique. And some people can handle way more than it is. And it's okay. And you don't have to explain that to anybody, because obviously if they're making comments like that, they're never going to understand. They might understand when it affects them, but I will tell you right now, I hope it never does. I hope that no more people ever have to experience that kind of pain. And just knowing from, like, when my stepson died, the pain of that phone call, you just can't, there's just so much. Addiction issues are patterns within lineages. It is finding the right help to gradually break it. Yes, I've seen results With acupuncture, very few know of it. I've actually heard that depending on the substance, acupuncture can be affordability is a major issue. Absolutely. He needs to quit using. That is a very uninformed thing to say, right? Like, if it was that simple, would we even have an addiction problems in the United States? You really think that somebody wakes up and says, you know what? I think I want something else to control my body, my thoughts, my behavior. Oh my gosh. I hope I end up melting, turning into goo from MRSA on the street. You think people really want that? You think it's so easy to just quit? Like, really? It's such a simple solution that we haven't had people dying all over the place? I mean, I'm sorry, but that is just ridiculous. Sorry. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. Everything's fine. I'm sorry for losing my temper, but I will tell you right now, just because you were strong enough to stop, or somebody you knew, or your cousin's mother's uncle's sister's friend somehow was just able to quit, that is not the majority, and that's not how addiction works. And if it did work that way, we sure as hell wouldn't have a problem with people dying all over the place from it. Meg, you have my support as well, all the way from Sweden. Absolutely, Meg, you definitely have my support. Um, he won't. He will probably end up on OD on opioids. He has. My son has OD'd several times on opiates. Absolutely. He's OD'd on meth as well. He's gotten myocarditis. His heart is swollen. His cognitive functions, he's losing them. Do you think we don't know this? Do you think you're enlightening anybody? Or do you think you're just being hateful? Go to another channel. Yes, I will send food, etc. I am raising my granddaughter. Yes, exactly. I have 3 grandchildren that don't have a father right now. And to make sure that their amazing, amazing mother can do everything that she can to take care of them, I watch my grandbabies. They come over Tuesday evening, and then I try to get her sleep, if possible, during the day while she works all night. And then she gets back in the morning, and then we try to work out something where I can go to my meetings and I can conduct business and get her some sleep during the day so we can do it all over again. It is difficult. Let's see. Daniel, watch the movie My Name is Bill W., and it will inform you about AA. I know a lot about AA, and AA isn't for everybody. AA is a very religious program, and so it leaves out a lot of people who are not comfortable with that element. And so there's also things that have been proven, like medication assisted therapy. That is a huge one. When I was facing addiction to alcohol, I took a medication called Antabuse, and that worked phenomenally, took away all cravings. It doesn't work like that for everybody. So the treatment for each person really varies individually. And while AA and NA can be very helpful for a lot of people, there's also a lot of people that doesn't necessarily work for or isn't in their sphere. Addiction changes the brain. Yes, it does. It is absolutely a brain injury. And you can look up the different drug and see what it does to the brain. Drugs, not even once. Well, that's very lovely. That's commendable. I also think that has to do a lot with the environment you're around. I think it has to do a lot with trauma. It has to do with exposure, right? Because if you're not exposed to a whole lot of drugs, the chances of you getting your hands on them is pretty slim. But over, like Seattle, it's anywhere. You could literally walk 2 blocks away in any direction, pretty much in any part of the city right now, and get whatever your little heart desires. We are a port city. We're a port city. I don't know if you know what that means for drugs, but it means that there isn't a whole lot we can do necessarily to stop it. But what we can do, because the problem we have is not people using drugs. People who just, and I wish people would look this up, because the number of people that use drugs recreational is very, very high, actually. The people that become addicted is nowhere near the people that use. So the problem is not the drug, right? There's always going to be drugs. Our earth produces drugs. Like, it's going to happen. They're always going to be there. But what we can do is we can treat the disorders that come before it. We can treat trauma. We can help people so they don't feel like they have to lean on that. We can make sure that there are plenty of options for our people living in chronic pain. There's so much we can do to make sure that we don't have people out of their minds on substances. And that comes down to community. It comes down to compassion. It comes down to how we treat one another. And it comes down to our responsibility to other human beings. Let's see. My dad used drugs, but I have never been drunk. That's good. It's not fun. I don't recommend it. Thank you to the person from afar. I'm struggling with my heart attack. She is my only child. Oh, Meg, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Amanda, your amazing mother, as many others in this situation, love and support, not judgment, is our way forward as a community. Go, Lynn. Yes. Yes, Lynn. All of that. Heart that. Elle, been watching you from a distance. Can't believe you would abandon your son. Oh my God. Oh, wow. Okay, so that's okay though. That's okay. That means that there is a lot of people watching that have not dealt with a child who's addicted and has not, yeah. Because the thing is my son was staying here until he's decided to use again. And I have his children, and he's not going to be around his children, and he does not want to be around his children if he is either A, really going through it mentally because he's not thinking clearly, or if he's using. So you are darn straight, absolutely 1000%, that I will look after his children with everything in me. And he will have to use the resources at hand like an adult and get through this. And I will love him, and I will provide him with resources. And until he gets better, I will take care of his babies. These ignorant comments, I'm blessed because you're not hurting my feelings. You can't hurt my feelings. I lived under a bridge, okay? I have had people try to hurt my feelings every way since Sunday. I've been in domestic violence relationships. You can't hurt my feelings. However, saying those things to other people can. And if you're saying those things, you are super ignorant. And while it hurts the people, I'm going to tell you, everybody knows you're ignorant. Like, it's not even, like, it's that bad. It's that bad. Cringe. Let's see. Drug use is not just trauma, really. Absolutely, David. David, you are 1000% right. Drug use is not just trauma related. There are many, many factors that go into why somebody would try a drug. However, addiction, while also having many components, can be triggered many times from trauma. There is also genetic components, there's societal components, there's all sorts of components that can go into it. But unfortunately, in addiction, there is a very high rate of trauma. Um, let's see. Ella, you know, the thing, right? In Germany, the anonymous alcoholics are not religion. Or did you mean this with AA? I meant this with AA. The Alcoholics Anonymous here was actually founded, I believe, by religious people. And so it was actually framed as like the Christian context, which is fine if you're a Christian. But I think we also have to remember that there are many people that struggle with addiction that are not. And it isn't okay when somebody is vulnerable to recruit. And what I mean by that is in many, many religions, and I've seen it numerous times while I was homeless. Take that opportunity instead of they may offer services or help, but their ultimate goal is not the help. Their ultimate goal is to recruit and recruit, save souls, whatever that may be. But and I'm not saying they're not helpful and they don't offer needed stuff, but the ultimate goal is recruitment. And so yeah, that is why AA is not good for every single person, but it is a good program. NA is also very good as well. So it's all on the personal preference. Let's see. L sounds like an evil clown. Just failed the credits. Like I said, you know, it isn't like it's just so off that I just laugh. Like, you know, I guess it's what is that? It's supposed to be a good sign when you start getting trolled. Like people taking time out of that precious time out of their day to just be negative. Like, I choose a lot differently for my life, but okay. Everybody's got their thing. Yeah, some of the comments are just ridiculous. David, people who drink alcohol are not judged as traumatized. I would actually have to disagree with you on that. There are people who use alcohol who are not judged as traumatized, but those who are addicted to alcohol many times have been through generational trauma with alcohol. And trauma is known. Like, I'm just going to have to disagree with you on that. I think that we're conflating the issue of use versus addiction. And there's a very separate distinction from somebody using something versus somebody being addicted to something. Yeah. Like there could be somebody who did coke recreationally, cocaine, right? Say they did coke a couple times and they were fine, didn't want it, didn't crave it, did it at a party once, but it was no big deal, right? We all know people like that. But then you've got the person who does it once and boom, they're an addict forever for that drug. It's called your DOC, your drug of choice. And it's the one that catches you. We used to have these conversations all the time in our encampment because our encampment was people who were in recovery, right? So people who had dealt with addiction and were struggling at recovering from the after effects. And so we talked a lot about that, about how, you know, there's all these reasons and, you know, yeah, I totally like lost what I was saying. I looked at like a comment. Let's see. I feel bad for the mean demeanor some of these comments show. I always try walking in other people's shoes. It's, you know, I think that's where empathy comes in, you know, or sympathy. I'm not sure which one, where, you know, you imagine walking in somebody else's shoes. I think it's just accepting their journey no matter where that has brought them and working from there, you know, and just being accepting, you know, being accepting and loving people where they're at. And really what that means is loving people without, you know, changing, or you can guide, you can direct, but love them without changing them and meet them where they're at. Their winner, Chizuru, their winner. Yes, it's still kind of winner. Let's make girl okay. Alcohol has ruined more lives than any other drug. I would have to look on the. I really don't know that. I could not tell you. I do not know historically what drug has been the most devastating. I would think because alcohol has been really used more in civilizations that it probably does have a higher rate. But honestly, I don't know the data, so I am not sure. At the very least, the Portugal model of drug use needs implementation. The issue I found here, David, is that while we agree, right, with the Portugal model, we stop short. So what we do is we say, yes, absolutely, we should not criminalize addiction. That's not where we want to go with this. It doesn't help. It really doesn't. What it does is it overcrowds our jails. A lot of them are nonviolent. It's devastating to families and communities. So we know that that's not the right option. Now, when we decriminalized, what we were supposed to do to be implementing that system is put into place treatment, actual treatment that is responsive and appropriate to the level of need. We did not do that. So what we did is we decriminalized without having the infrastructure to treat the problem, because you get a choice there as to whether to go to treatment. Here, they may say you have a bed, but if there's no beds available, you don't get a bed, and it's overflowing. So it's very difficult when you don't provide the structure for certain plans, and then when it fails, like here, there's definite issues and it's failing, and that's we got to have that structure in there. If we're going to tell people, if you're in crisis, you get a bed, we got to have beds available. We got to have treatment, not just art class. We need to have treatment that is appropriate and to the scale of the crisis we're facing. Sunshine Girl, one relative who had some major addictions. Only one would help them or make sure they survived, except I was still angry at them. Let's see. Do you remember Faye crying for that kid's accident for the gay couple? You were crying for money, didn't you? I do not know what you're talking about, but if you're talking about Pierce's daughter, Pierce is actually staying with me. He's at work, but that's what is going on. It is full of trolls today. Crazy. Like, I hit troll market. I'm so glad that the rest of you are here. I gave a homeless man $5 and he bought a cigarette pack. If you give a store $5, do you track where they spend that too? That's crazy. Or is it only when it's a person? If you're concerned at all about when you give money to somebody, how they're going to spend it, do not give money. Just don't. Don't even get it in your head, because let me tell you right now, we don't need the toxicity from people who do that. If you have a problem with that homeless man buying something that gives him comfort or will settle things down for a little bit, then don't give him that money. Somebody else will, and somebody else will do it with love and compassion. And you know what? They're not going to care, because they believe that that person knows their needs better than they do. And nobody knows that person's needs better than them. So I'm just going to tell you now, if you've got a problem with that, just don't do it. Just don't. There's no reason, because then, that happens where they go buy cigarettes, and then you got to come on, and then you got to tell everybody that, oh, that person didn't spend the money in the way that I thought they should. Like it was still yours after you handed it to them. And that's just weird. Ricky Neal, hello. And people should be able to use drugs legally. Yes. because the problem isn't drugs. The problem is addiction. Now, there are drugs that have a high rate of addiction. Now, I'm not saying deregulate. That is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying across the board. I'm saying it's just really none of my business. If that person is not harming the public in any way and what they do behind their closed doors, as long as it's not harming people, it's none of my business. It's none of my business. I really don't care. Now, if they have an addiction problem and they're tearing their family apart and it's hurting our community and they need help, I care. And I will offer resources and I will fight for their right to have health care. But I'm not going to make up problems that people don't have. Let's see. I'll say, oh, thank you, Matayek. Jessica, that's right. It should be supervised by the state. I meant David. I saw a right-wing news story on a San Francisco homeless man recently claims he gets $600 a month to stay homeless. That is okay. Let me just point out how can you imagine like living like now I lived on about after spanging I lived on about $10 a week, I would say. So $40 a month. Being housed and having a business and having other expenses, I can't even imagine. Like, you can't be housed on, like, that's so funny. Like, if you're paid $600 in San Francisco to stay homeless, you're just paid $600. You're going to be homeless if that's all you have. There is no place in San Francisco that you are going to get if you only have $600 a month. And that's funny that they would spin it that way. Nobody's like paying people out to stay homeless. However, there are a huge percentage of people who are on SSI and SSDI being homeless because they don't get enough to pay rent. Rent prices have skyrocketed. Um, I am looking right now, and for a one bedroom, it's $1,500 to $1,600 a month. So, housing prices are kicking. They're up there. Don't give money if you're uncomfortable, but consider buying a meal. Yes. I should have put that in there. Um, but yeah, absolutely. You are absolutely right, Lynn. Thank you for coming in with that. I might just be a little owly tonight. It might be because there's trolls. I don't feel like I'm defensive, but I feel like a little bit of just like anger at some of the just outright, and they're just like, it's like poking somebody, right? It's like really annoying, but you really can make the choice to just like let it go. You're watching that process live. This shows how much of an ideological issue it's become. He was also filmed selling drugs to a passing 15-year-old boy. Well, I also have to say that most time drug dealers do not look at ID, unfortunately. So that isn't real surprising. My larger question was, why was there a 15-year-old running around buying drugs as well? I think that both questions need to be addressed. um, Roommate situations aren't too awesome overall either. I agree with you, Sunshine Girl. In some, we actually have talked about that on a national level, and it does work for some people. Like some people really do well when supported by a roommate. For people like me and others that I know, those who have severe mental illness or brain injuries or other disabilities, it is not appropriate. I I love my peers. I do. But, you know, even as like one of my kids that I love, it still drives me insane having my space shared. Um, I have quirks. I have things that need to be a certain way, or I like freak out. It's a big deal to have one space. Okay. Hi, Sajal. Bob Hightower. Cigarettes kill 1 in 3 users. Gangs haven't fought over control of alcohol distribution or production in any major way for quite some time. Eh, yeah, because they've kind of moved on, huh? Like, now they're all about the meth or heroin. So, there's that. What do I have to do when I really don't have anywhere to lay? I'm just stranded. Where would you walk from the road? I might be evicted soon because of my landlord. Start right now. Contact your shelters. Um, yeah, contact your shelters. Contact right now. There are emergency ERAP funds, so emergency rental assistance program. It's called ERAP, Emergency Rental Assistance Program. Look it up in your district, wherever you are, and get help. Like, get help. There's also tenants unions out there. Contact them. But before it becomes a big deal, please contact and get yourself some resources and get yourself some help, because there's definitely resources out there. Let's see. I'm illustrating right-wing attacks on property. Yes, absolutely. David, I'm agreeing with you. I am agreeing with you. I'm just illustrating. Yeah, poverty and homelessness in the public watch. Yeah. And it changes the narrative, right? It changes the narrative. It changes when people see things like that, and it's played in a way that, and I've noticed it's like this snap judgment, right? It's so that people don't have to think deeply about the issue. It gives them a solution right away. So rather than questioning why a 15-year-old is rolling around getting drugs from a homeless person, the question immediately comes to a homeless person having drugs and selling them. Both are wrong. Both issues need to be addressed and dissected further. But instead, the narrative becomes all homeless people are like this. And so it's something that we fight up against, and we just do the best we can, you know? Meg, my daughter's husband gets Social Security and can't get a place, but they spend on drugs. My daughter is 42, yelling at the child. Right. But, that's the thing too, is even if they spend, whatever they spend the Social Security on, regardless of what a person spends it on, it isn't enough for housing. So they can spend all their money, which is $600 to $1,000 a month, spend all of that. And even if they hadn't, it's still not enough for a place. And even if they saved that up, got a place, they wouldn't be able to make enough to keep the place. It's a vicious cycle. Let's see. And plus, you should really look up how bad inflation is right now with rental prices. I have Sunshine Girl. I have other disabilities, so I have low tolerance, especially leaving big messes or nonstop noise. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that kicks off issues with me too. Let's see. I used to know a former coworker at work where I go who would smell of cigarettes. Also, I have a good smelling sense as well. Yeah, well, have you had any more time to do some awesome paintings? I have decided, actually, it's funny you asked that because I have my easel set up like right there. I was planning to do some painting tonight because I want to do a series for Ukraine and auction that and give the money to the humanitarian effort over there. I was sitting home and I was just feeling helpless. Like, this is, like, I help people here and like people around me, but it's just a really helpless feeling. And it's not just Ukraine. I feel this way a lot when watching different things. But, like, I just needed to know what can I do? And I found that for someone like me, the best thing to do is garner funds. So what can I do to do that? Well, I'm not going to make enough, just, like my consulting work won't make enough to send, but what I can do is paint and I can auction that off. So I'm hoping to get those proceeds and send whatever I can make over that way. Just, I don't care, just a little relief if that can help at all. Yeah, like I want to do something. I know it's not going to be much. It's a whisper in the wind, but something. Let's see. When I was 14 years, or wait, actually don't keep up. Right. When I was 14 years old, our teacher showed a film called Wir Kinder vom Bahnhof zu. I'm camping because it showed the dangers of drug addiction in real situations. There I swore myself to never touch drugs. And everybody has, their thing, but you will also find with a lot of children of addicts and people who come from a long line of addicts like myself, right? So we have great grandparents that were addicts. We have grandparents that were addicts. We have parents that were addicts. I had a brief stint with addiction. Well, no, I'm an addict. I will always be an addict. So I'm an addict. My ex-husband, their father, is an addict, and my son is an addict. Now we talk about it, but it's there, and we need in our society to have real life discussions about this without shame, without judgment. It's so important to just lift each other up, discuss things, be very real, but also be educated about it. Because I found that having education about go to all the webinars, take all the classes that you can, learn about it. It helps, and it's helped me so much to just really dive in to the physiology even of addiction and how it happens and why and what that does to a brain. No, that money's not enough for rent. No, it isn't. Let's see. I love your paintings. Great ideas. I do relate. Hugs. Any more painting streams you're gonna do again? I'm hoping to. The issue I have, honestly, guys, with like the painting streams, and I say this as I'm going on to an hour, 21 minutes. Like, this is a long vlog, and I oops. But the issue that I have is many times I have to sit and let a painting just sit for a minute and look at it before I finish it, because I don't draw it first, right? It's just me putting me on the canvas and my mind and my imagination on the canvas. I don't draw it really beforehand. I don't, like, I might to the side take a piece of paper and draw, like an image that I'm concentrating on, but I won't draw it on the canvas. So sometimes it takes a really long time. And so I always feel guilty when I start a painting vlog and I end up having to stop it because it's like going to go on 2 hours, or I need to just take like an hour or two break. But I figure with the ones that I'm doing for the Ukraine series, I'm going to keep them, really. Yeah. So I think I should be able to do those. I'd like that. Let's see. Pursuit of happiness. Yep. Maddie, I would join his gang. Just 1 second. I'm looking for something. Yeah, that's not getting answered. Okay, great. Dubs on Maid Marian. Oh, all right, everybody. I am going to get off of here. French Lilac. Hi, Diana Lynn. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate them so much, and I do read them. And you guys, I want you to know, like, I heart comments. Very, very rarely do I comment. But I really do read the comments and absorb them, unless they're negative, and then I just laugh and delete or block, depending on how bad it is. But I enjoy reading them and really do let them absorb and send love to each one of you that writes something positive. So, and thank you, Diana Lynn. I hope someday to meet. Oh, I almost forgot. I get to meet one of my viewers, and I'm so excited. And she has been super important to me. So, she said hi before, but I'm gonna get to meet the Q family, and I'm super, super excited about it. And that totally like made me giddy today. So I'm looking forward to showing them around Seattle. Yay! Lynn, RE, Russia, Ukraine. We know MSN and politicians. That is true. And I will have to say that luckily, in this day and age, we can watch it live. And so many of us are on our feeds watching footage from the troops that are there and the people involved and the civilians and across their countries. So it is. It is something like I've never experienced in my life to be able to really just sit with it and to I think it really humanizes everything in the people. Um, let's see. Take care, dear Amanda. Thank you for going light. Thank you. I appreciate you. And Matak, I will. I still have that cook. I was thinking about it today because something popped on my feed about Swedish, and I was like, I still have that cookbook, so I need to do a cooking one because I'm still gonna make something out of that. Um, Best wishes and a great night. Hi, Sunshine Girl. Your hair is so long and beautiful. It is getting very long, and I'm super happy about that, and I'm kind of loving it. I am. I thought about cutting it the other day, and I'm like, I'm really enjoying the length. So I think I'm gonna keep it for a while. I do like it. Thank you so much, Diana. You have a great day, Matayek. Two Americans I follow currently, there's so much on my mind. Yes, absolutely. All right, guys, I'm going to get off of here. Sending so much love to you all. And if you are able, go in the description. Um, there are links to, I think, two or three organizations that to help the Ukraine. Those are only the top ones. Don't worry about the bottom ones. Those are for the channel, okay? And they are all labeled. So definitely go on there, click on the link, read about the organization, and if you can, just give a little help to them. Um, Bye, Meg. Oh, your daughter's name's Amanda. It means worthy of love. Thank you, Jess. You too. All right, guys. Bye.